Today, we're diving deep into ancient China's Three Kingdoms period. You know, an era of incredible heroes, epic battles, and some of the most brilliant strategic minds in all of history. But here's the thing. We're going to tackle a huge puzzle today, one that sits right at the heart of a massive military campaign. It all comes down to one question. How could one of the greatest strategists who ever lived, Zhuge Liang, make a single mistake that cost him everything?
So, let's jump right into the action. Picture this. It's the year 228 AD. The legendary Zhuge Liang, the prime minister of the Shuhan Kingdom, has just launched his great northern expedition. But almost as soon as it begins, the whole thing is already teetering on the edge of total collapse.
And look, this campaign, it was supposed to be Zhuge Liang's masterpiece. I mean, we're talking about years of planning by a guy whose intelligence was seen as almost supernatural. The entire future of his kingdom was riding on this.
The fate of this grand plan, the thousands of soldiers, the destiny of a nation, it all boiled down to one single critical location, a strategic outpost called Jiating.
So, who does the great Zhuge Liang pick for this make-or-break mission? You'd think one of his battle-tested veteran generals, right? Nope. He chose his protege, a scholar by the name of Ma Su.
In Zhuge Liang's mind, Ma Su was an absolute genius. He was this brilliant academic who knew all the classic texts on warfare inside and out. He could talk about strategy with this incredible, flashy style that just completely wowed the great strategist.
And this is where it gets really interesting. You've got this huge difference in opinion. While Zhuge Liang saw a strategic master in the making, his former boss, the late Emperor Liu Bei, saw something else entirely. He had a simple and chillingly accurate assessment. His words exceed his deeds.
Now, to really understand how Zhuge Liang got this so wrong, we actually have to go back in time a few years, to the deathbed of Emperor Liu Bei himself.
So as Liu Bei is lying there dying, he calls over his most trusted advisor, Zhuge Liang. And with his final breaths, he gives him a very clear, very direct warning about Ma Su. He basically begs him, do not give this man any real military power.
You see, Liu Bei was famous for his ability to read people, what they called penetrating eyes for true talent. He could see right through the fluff. So, where Zhuge Liang was totally dazzled by Ma Su's book smarts, Liu Bei saw the real guy. Brilliant when talking strategy, but completely lacking the street smarts to actually lead in a crisis.
Okay, let's fast forward back to the campaign and see just how right Liu Bei was. We're at the Battle of Jiating, where everything is about to go horribly wrong. This just lays out the whole disaster perfectly. Zhuge Liang's orders were simple. Camp at the crossroads, block the enemy. Easy. But Ma Su, trusting his textbooks over his own commander, just ignored him. He thought he was being clever, moving his whole army up onto a hill to get the high ground. The problem, the one fatal flaw, there was no water. So the enemy general just strolled up, surrounded the hill, and waited. Ma Su's army, trapped and dying of thirst, completely fell apart.
Just one catastrophic mistake, one moment of academic arrogance, and that was all it took to completely shatter the entire northern expedition and force a humiliating retreat.
So what happened next? Well, the fallout from this defeat was fast, it was brutal, and it forced Zhuge Liang to face the consequences of his own terrible judgment call. With his whole campaign in ruins and the army's morale at rock bottom, Zhuge Liang knew he had to enforce military law. To restore any sense of order, he had to make an absolutely agonizing decision. He ordered the execution of Ma Su, the very man he had promoted and trusted. There's this famous saying that comes from this moment, shedding tears to execute Ma Su. It perfectly captures Zhuge Liang's heartbreak. As he gave the order, he wept, not just for his friend, but for his own failure. He realized, way too late, that his old master, Liu Bei, had been right all along. And this chart just sums it all up, doesn't it? Liu Bei, the experienced warlord, he judged people on their character and what they could actually do. Zhuge Liang, the brilliant scholar, got completely swept away by how much Ma Su knew from books. In the end, Liu Bei's gut feeling about people proved way more valuable than all of Zhuge Liang's intellectual analysis. You know, this isn't just some old war story. The story of Ma Su is a powerful, timeless lesson in leadership and in judging talent. It's a reminder that just because someone can talk the talk doesn't mean they can walk the walk. Brilliance on paper is no substitute for real, practical wisdom.
Which leaves us with one final question, and it's a big one for any leader out there.
What's the bigger danger? Not knowing enough yourself, or putting all your trust in someone who knows everything but understands nothing?